Recently, I suffered an ankle injury and was barely moving when I witnessed a terrible scene in the supermarket. Grandma scolded her granddaughter so harshly that the girl burst into tears. I couldn't stay on the sidelines and intervened, saving her from an unexpected threat on the road. After that, my grandmother became enraged and started chasing me. The situation quickly got out of control. I felt trapped, no one took my side, and every new collision threatened not only my safety, but also my peace of mind. I didn't know how it would end, but one thing was clear. I couldn't remain just an observer anymore. It happened today within a few minutes. A little background. A few weeks ago, I broke my ankle and several fingers on different legs. The cast was removed 3 weeks ago, so I can move, and now I lean only on one crutch, mainly to maintain balance. This means that my brother drives me everywhere, including to and from work. Today he was late, so I went to the supermarket to buy milk and asked him to pick me up near the store at the entrance. I was sitting on a bench near the store when an elderly woman appeared with her daughter-in-law and granddaughter. I don't know exactly how old the child is. I don't know how to determine the age of the children, but judging by her babbling, I think she can't speak yet. She was sitting on a small chair in a cart and seemed quite happy. The elderly woman, although walking slowly, seemed to be perfectly fine. My daughter-in-law parked a cart with a child next to me and told her mother-in-law to wait here until she drove up here so that she wouldn't have to go through the whole parking lot. From the context, I understood that my mother-in-law's legs hurt a lot and she wanted to sit. The daughter-in-law tried to persuade her to sit on the bench where I was already sitting, but the mother-in-law renounced it and continued to suffer. In the end, I got up from the bench, offered her my place, moved a little further and just leaned against the wall. This woman didn't even look at me, but sat down with such a look as if she had just been crowned. The daughter-in-law kissed the child, said, "Mommy will be back now, be a couple with Grandma, and then we'll take a ride." The girl was happy with these words, and her mother left. As soon as her daughter-in-law disappeared from sight, Grandma addressed the child with the words, "You are a little naughty girl. Look, Mommy left you here and left without you. There won't be any car." The girl roared and began to call her mother. I'm not sure how much she understood what her grandmother said, maybe everything, or maybe she understood only part of "there will be no car." In any case, it's disgusting to say that to your granddaughter, although in principle to any child. I turned around and looked at my grandmother, raising an eyebrow expressively, which probably let her know that I heard her every word. She immediately changed her tone, loudly telling the child that she was just joking, "Mom will be back now," and so on. It didn't really act, and the girl was already completely hysterical, so her grandmother decided to pull her out of the cart seat. She put the screaming child on his feet and then turned to sit on the bench. Guys, this child could give odds to Usain Bolt. As soon as she found not very stable balance, she rushed to run, shouting that she wanted to her mother. Straight to the road. There were about 5 meters between me and the road. I was still standing leaning against the wall, and between the child and the road, about half of this distance. During the time it took me to realize that the child was running to the roadway and that the grandmother could not see anything, the girl managed to slip past the parking fence. In the UK, these are such posts near the shops. I don't know exactly why, but I have assumptions. I've never moved so fast in my life. I managed to grab the girl and return to the sidewalk before my ankle made me know that a sprint race so soon after a fracture is not the best idea. The next moment, I saw that my daughter-in-law was taking her daughter away from me, who almost ended up under the wheels of her mother's car. The child's mother is crying. The child is crying. I'm crying. It hurt me as hell. And Grandma continues to just sit on the bench. In general, I blame the adrenaline for this, because usually I wouldn't interfere. But I told the child's mother what exactly happened, even those words that her mother-in-law said to the child. When I was leaving, my daughter-in-law was still yelling at her mother-in-law. A day later, first of all, the ankle, it hurts, swollen and all blue, but fortunately, it is not broken again. The doctor said that this is a strong sprain that will delay my recovery, but I don't need to apply plaster again, hooray. In short, my physiotherapist was sure that my ankle was broken again and sent me for an x-ray. The physiotherapy department is in the hospital. A nurse, I don't know exactly who she was, put me in a wheelchair to take me. And the next dialogue took place between us. Nurse, how did you manage to get crippled this time? Me, oh, I chased the kid who ran out on the road. Nurse, oh my God, how did this happen? When was it? Me, yesterday. Asterisk, I'm preparing to tell a story. Asterisk, nurse, wait. Didn't it happen by chance at the supermarket at the address? Me, yes. Nurse, my God, this was my niece. It turned out that the mother of this nurse is that grandmother. Apparently, the child's mother left yesterday's post, leaving her mother-in-law in the store. The nurse is almost sure that her brother's marriage will come to an end because her son-in-law had already insisted on breaking up, but her brother mommy's son did not want it. This nurse also said that she does not communicate with her mother after she caught her mother deliberately pinching her nurse's newborn child. She also told me that her niece was fine, but her son-in-law was very scared. That's it, the world is damn dense. I had 100 questions for her, but I thought it would be a bit rude. I'm not sure I'll meet her again, but who knows? A week later. I really didn't think I'd have to write about it again. I was sure it was all over. I was wrong. Today I had another appointment with a physiotherapist, and I faced that child's aunt again. It turned out that she is studying to be a physiotherapist, so I will probably see her quite often. After the appointment, she asked if she could talk to me, and we sat and chatted. It turned out that crazy grandma was completely crazy. She must have been smart enough to understand that her daughter-in-law now has a damn good reason to forbid her to see her granddaughter, and perhaps to convince her husband, the father of the child, to also stop communicating with his mother. Therefore, knowing that the relationship with her was most likely about to break up, Grandma struck a preemptive blow. She called the police and told them about the incident mentioned in my original post, but she completely changed the story. According to her, her daughter-in-law was rude and inattentive to her daughter, and Grandma told her that it turned into a quarrel. While they were arguing, the child ran out onto the road, and Grandma noticed it and ran after him. The daughter-in-law snatched the girl from her and eventually left, leaving her mother-in-law alone in the store. Not a word is said about me. Judging by how quickly events are developing, apparently we are talking about the girl's aunt and mother believe that the mad grandmother told the police this story on the day of the incident, if not the day after it. I don't know exactly what rules apply around the world, but here in Scotland, the police should investigate and also inform the social services, which then have to conduct a preliminary assessment, talk to the child's school, doctor, and so on. In general, there are a few mandatory points that must be met before deciding on a more serious investigation, and there is little you can do to stop it. So last Thursday, the police visited the child's mom and dad. The child's mother told her version of the events, but could not tell anything specific because she was not there. She knew only what I told her about. Thus, the police and, presumably, social services received two contradictory stories, one of which claims the involvement of a third party, me. The next day, they received a notification that a representative of social services would contact them. All this set fire to the child's father's ass, and he came into a confrontation with the crazy grandmother, whose main points, at least those I was told about, are as follows. The ultimate goal of the mad grandmother is to get custody of the child. B. She hopes that the child's mother will be imprisoned. C. She admitted that she lied to the police, but she is sure that the child's mother will not prove what really happened because she will not be able to find me to confirm it. The child's aunt found out about all this over the weekend, and although everyone is sure that both the police and social services will not find any problems, they, of course, are nervous. My aunt didn't tell the child's mom and dad that she met me in the hospital for two reasons. She didn't have my permission to do it and definitely didn't have my permission to transfer my contact details. In general, she asked if I agreed to tell my version of the story to the police and social services, and if the child's parents could contact me. I agreed, and she is going to hand over everything to the child's parents. Most likely, they won't need me, but who knows? I also drew her attention to the fact that the surveillance cameras in the store had to record everything, and probably the first thing the police would do was to go there. In general, the drama continues 5 days later. So this situation is getting interesting. The child's mother contacted me, and yesterday we met for a cup of coffee. She is a very nice woman who is under a lot of stress. I told her about the just a male community, and she said she would look, although I have no idea whether it was out of politeness or not. At the end of the conversation, she was a little turned up, but I don't blame her, honestly. However, she clarified several points, one of which is that her mother-in-law did not call the police, but her friend, a social service worker. Crazy Grandma told this friend from the social service her version of events, and she officially reported about the child's mother. This is how the police joined the case. Social services turned to them, because they most likely on the initiative of a friend from the social service. Although this is only an assumption of the child's parents believed that the girl was in immediate danger. The police found that nothing threatens the child, but is still investigating what happened in the store. I'm going to testify to them next week, and I hope it will all end there. On the other hand, social services are a separate story. Regardless of how they are involved in this case, they still have to conduct their assessment and will investigate the incident in the store. Judging by what the child's mother told me, Crazy Grandma's friend from the social service either puts pressure on everyone or leads the investigation. So far, this friend is mostly doing her job, although quite aggressively. She was allowed to talk to all the neighbors of the girl's parents, colleagues, the school, and the child's doctor. What she friend is not allowed to do is to appear in the house of the child's parents with the crazy grandmother to try to make them reconcile. Apparently, Crazy Grandma resorted to manipulations and gaslighting in the presence of her friend from the social service, trying to make the child's mother crazy, as she expressed concern about the mental state of the child's mother, saying that she had hallucinations because she remembered the incident wrongly. She said that the child should be given under her Crazy Grandma custody until all this mess is put to rest. I asked my son, the child's father, how the divorce process is going. They don't get divorced, but Crazy Grandma tried to create the appearance of this for her friend. She told the girl's mother that she was glad that she felt good enough to clean the house and asked if she had managed to feed the baby today. When parents laid out their trump card, the fact that my aunt was talking to me, Crazy Grandma began to pretend to cry and ask why the girl's aunt and mother were lying to everyone. She said that her daughter-in-law misled her Crazy Grandma's daughter and that she, the child's mother, needed help. Then she turned to a friend from the social service and told her that the aunt and mother of the child must be pay some poor homeless girl or student to lie. I already put it that way. I guess that she was going to accuse me of lying or something like that. At that moment, the child's mother admitted that she had freaked out and screamed for her mother-in-law to clean the house. All this, apparently, turned out to be enough for the friend of the mad grandmother and, apparently, for the father of the child too, and she offered the father of the child to put his wife in a psychiatric clinic. After the mad grandmother and her friend left, the child's parents began to quarrel. The essence of the quarrel was that the child's father was kind of led by the statements of his mother, Crazy Grandmother. The child's mother didn't really tell me anything, only that he is sleeping on the couch now. I offered to talk to him, but I think it's right, thinks he should trust her words and without additional interference. I also advised her to contact the social services herself and provide them with my contact details so that there would be an official paper trace and the friend of the crazy grandmother could not claim that she did not know about me. I also offered to file a complaint against Crazy Grandma's friend, but the girl's mother is afraid that if she does it right now, the situation will get even worse. So that's where we stop now. I doubt there will be a lot of news after I talk to social services and the police, but the child's parents will keep me informed. So if there is even more drama, please don't. I'll write an update. Edited. I just want to clarify something that, as I understand it, I did not formulate very clearly in this post. The girl's mother will definitely file a complaint against crazy grandma's friend. We know that what she does is illegal. It's just that the girl's mother is worried that if she reports now, the situation will become even worse. I understand that this is not so. You understand that it is not so. And she understands that it is not. But so far, everyone is against her. So I do not blame her for feeling this way. Nevertheless, I will talk to her again about telling her about it. I also missed the fact in this post that I hinted to her that she needed to contact a lawyer. She never gave me a clear answer on this matter, but she at least understands that she should seek legal help. A day later, I asked the child's mother if she wanted me to report to the police or just wait for the social services to contact me. She chose the first option because she is trying to get an injunction. I went to the police to testify, and come on, crazy grandma has already made a rustle there. After the child's parents told her that they were in touch with me, she went to the police and said that I could come with a statement that she was involved in that incident at the store. She managed to weave some intricate lie. In fact, she tried to discredit me before I testify. To a certain extent, it worked. The officer who conducted the case made it clear that he thought I was lying and that I was paid for it. He asked me several times how much I earned on it and said that I could be arrested for wasting police time and perjury, and immediately treated me with distrust and contempt, to which I'm ashamed to admit I don't react very well. In the comments to one of my previous posts, I mentioned that I work in the field of forensics and acted as an expert both as a teacher and a speaker. Hints that I can take bribes can ruin my career. And I'm by no means going to put my career at risk due to the fact that some manipulative old woman circled the officer around her cone-like witch's finger. Unfortunately, I had a chance to work with a lot of people who, looking at me, thought I was some kind of inept and stupid girl. Usually I try to show myself. And if it doesn't help, I let these people embarrass themselves. In the end, it still happens. In this case, it happened at the end of the conversation, when the officer asked where I worked. My official position sounds much more important than it really is. It has the words host, investigator, criminologist, and some others that make an impression. It definitely made him sit down and listen to my words. I won't lie, I lamented him a little, however. He himself realized that he screwed up for allowing himself to succumb to the manipulations of the crazy grandmother and noted that this is pure luck. That what I earn for a living inspires great trust. What would happen if in my place was some poor student or a person who is embarrassed to be in such a situation? Or, damn it, anyone else? I told everything I know about crazy grandma. I also informed him not on record of what the child's aunt and mother told me, which, of course, I can't prove. Anyway, we talked and I found out something. One of the interesting points was that the crazy grandmother really turned to the police after the incident in the store. At first, I was told that she turned to the police, who contacted the social service. And now I was told that it was the other way around and crazy grandma first turned to the social service. And it is not clear how contacted the police. Crazy grandma and her friend from the social service are, in fact, a couple of scammers who walk around the city and try to find a compromise on the child's mother. I reported her to grandma's friend, and the police now know about her, although I don't know yet whether they will allow social services to deal with her or take part themselves. The officer also told me about some things that crazy grandma said about me. Until no one started screaming that he violated confidentiality and so on, I will say that he did not tell me her version of the story and did not say that she wrote in her statement I learned about his detention from the child's aunt. All he told me was what crazy grandma said when she came to warn him that I would make a fake statement. Thus, we believe this is, by the way, an assumption from my and the police side that after the mad grandmother filed a report with the police and they said that they would contact the social service, she decided to contact her friend from the social service herself. Thus, we now know for sure that crazy grandma's girlfriend is not officially involved in this case. Several people working in the social service actually confirmed this. To sum up, crazy grandma reported to the police that I, a man she knows absolutely nothing about and whom she saw for less than 5 minutes, a poor student desperately in need of money. be a person who has already deceived the police. And she knows about it because I'm friends with the child's mother's drug addict cousin. See drug addict. But she doesn't say anything. Once I tried to seduce her son, the father of the child, which is impressive, since I have never met this guy. I also asked about the store surveillance cameras, but they couldn't shoot anything as they were aimed at the store door, not at the site where we were. So what else will happen? In the near future, the parents of the child will be visited by a representative of the social service. The social service will most likely want to talk to me. The police will deal with crazy grandma because she wastes the police's time and submits a false statement to the police. I hope that a decision will be made regarding the complaint against crazy grandma's friend from the social service. 8 days later. I don't think you'll need your drama llamas for this update. Rather, you'll need your alpacas bewildered. In any case, this update is more about oddities than drama. The original uses the concept of drama llama, an expression about a person prone to excessive dramatization or who likes to be involved in a similar event. In the just-a-mill community, drama llamas are something like pets of Redditors who feed on drama from posts. As some of you know, due to ankle problems, I lived with my parents and younger brother for the last few months. So on Monday, Mom had a day off, and she was choring around the house. My parents' house is located in a very rural area of Scotland. The nearest neighbors are about 10 kilometers away from us, and our house is at the end of, in fact, a dirt road half a kilometer long. It's hard to find, and the only strangers we meet here are either foresters who miss the access road to the forest, or one or two brave or, quite possibly, lost preachers of the church. There is no house on the Google Maps map, and no one delivers cargo here except for the Royal Post Office. Around noon, a car drove up to the house, but no one got out of it. There's nothing unusual about it. As I said, usually someone who got lost. So Mom stayed at the entrance of the house in case they came to ask for directions. But after a few minutes, the car left. About an hour later, the same car arrived again, and everything happened again. Another hour passed, and the car came back again. Only this time two women got out of the car. They didn't go to the door, but decided to wait around a little. One of them tried to bypass the house from the backside, which is currently fenced, as our backyard is used as a pen for a pregnant mare and her foal. Another woman started trying to look through the windows, and my mother came out and asked if she could help them. They quickly replied that no, they just look, then returned to their car and left. Naturally, Mom was confused and told Dad, brother, and me about what happened almost immediately after we returned home. I've definitely been working in forensics for too long because my first thought was, they're planning something bad. We have surveillance cameras. They are not for the house and not for security. They were installed in the backyard so that we could monitor when the mare will give birth and also to monitor the already existing foal. I swear, it can compete with Houdini. One of the cells was aimed at the gate, which one of the women tried to open to get into the garden. So we watched the recording. Guess who tried to open the gate? Yes, crazy grandma was at my parents' house. I have no idea who the second woman was, what they wanted, and why they didn't talk to my mom. And I can only assume that crazy grandma learned this address from the girl's parents, I think from her dad. My mom also had a day off today, but she said no one showed up. However, tomorrow is my day off, and apart from my brother coming in the morning, I'll be home alone. I know that many of you will be advised to contact the police about harassment or illegal penetration or both. But in Scotland, illegal entry is a civil case, not a criminal one, so they have no right to interfere. There are laws regarding illegal entry, but they are mainly related to squatting. And there are many public access laws in Scotland that essentially allow people to go wherever they want when it comes to rural areas. Laws on harassment and harassment required to interrelated incidents and must be analyzed from the point of view of common sense. Reasonable person test is a standard used in legal cases to determine what behavior can be considered reasonable or unreasonable in a particular situation. This test suggests that a person should act as a reasonable person would do in such a situation. In short, the offender must also be aware that his actions cause anxiety or concern. For example, if your mother-in-law demands meetings with your children and continues to come to your home with demands every evening for 2 weeks, you get tired of it and you start to feel worried about your mother-in-law's constant visits. Your mother-in-law knows that her behavior causes you suffering and hopes that she will make you calm down and allow her to see her grandchildren. I'm not particularly worried, even with a sick leg. I'm sure I can handle it. And my brother kindly allowed me to borrow Bernard, his old shinty club with a kitchen knife glued to it when I broke my ankle for the first time. I also got a head injury. My brother and I spent that night and the next day watching The Walking Dead. And I think he was scared, because Bernard appeared 2 days later. Halloween is too soon for such a game. Edited. Okay, based on the comments, I should contact the police about it. I'm planning to go to the police tomorrow, but I doubt they'll do anything. But as you've all already mentioned, at least it will be documented. I also wrote to the child's mother, but I haven't received an answer yet. First, I would like to clarify some points related to my previous message. Several people thought that I didn't take this situation seriously enough, and I think I seemed a little frivolous. I apologize for this and want to say that I take this incident seriously and do not consider it an innocent coincidence. I know that this woman can be dangerous, and I plan to take action. I think that most of you found the announced measures taken insufficient. For example, I plan to contact both the social services and the child's parents about this, but I did not dare to contact the police. However, the comments here quickly convinced me that going to the police is a good idea. Many of you have also expressed concern about my family, property, and animals. Unfortunately, everything is a bit complicated because this is not my house and my parents seem to think I'm paranoid. My father was the most calm of all of us, but after he paid attention to some of the nasty things that Mad Grandma made, I swear, I'll write about her again. It has already moved to another plane. He agreed to take a few additional security measures, which we, frankly, should have taken without crazy grandma. There are also those who do not believe that this is really happening, and I tell you, I completely understand you. It's hard to imagine that there are people in the world capable of such a thing, and I understand that the fact that I accidentally came across an ant so soon after the initial incident seems to be an incredible coincidence. And the degree of madness has only increased. I understand. I would also be skeptical about it if it didn't happen to me. Some of you are even more difficult to imagine that I will publish personal data about both myself and another family. Well, that's Reddit. Different communities, from our just a mill to our relationships, from our raised by narcissists to our TIFU, all of them contain personal stories. However, I have changed omitted a lot in order to preserve the anonymity of all parties and at the same time give you the most accurate story about what is happening. In addition, I have permission from the child's mother for these messages, and the police also know about them. I also understand that for you I am just words on the screen. You don't know me. You don't have the opportunity to confirm any of this. And I draw a line in posting more personal information about any of the participants, yes, including Mad Grandma. And I will not post videos with Crazy Grandma. All I can say is that this is a very real and unpleasant situation, which I hope will be resolved quickly. Although, if people or our Supreme Lords, moderators, I love you very much want me to delete information, posts, or stop updates at all, it will be completely normal. So now let's get back to the events. On my day off, everything was calm. No signs of Crazy Grandma. Sorry, drama llamas. There will be no food today. I called the police officer who had previously accepted my application, and it turned out that there was nothing they could do about the fact that Mad Grandma was at my house. The officer just repeated what I already knew about illegal penetration and persecution. Sorry, Redditors, I tried. But apparently it's hardly considered an accident. As for the intimidation of witnesses, the law of those few that exist does protect witnesses and victims, but only when it comes to trial. He also warned me not to try to kick her out of the territory and not to set